Imagine a place that even most members of the royal family can't get into, where the air is cooler than in the most expensive Swiss wine cellars, and under one roof sit so many legendary cars that you could start your own Formula One championship, host the Geneva Auto Show, and open a car museum on the scale of the Louvre all at the same time. This is where the biggest and most valuable private car collection in the world is kept, around 7,000 vehicles, with a total estimated worth of about $5 billion US. But this massive garage city didn't just appear overnight. Back in the 1990s, when the world had no idea how far automotive luxury could be pushed, the Sultan's brother, Prince Jeffrey Bolkiah, began buying the rarest and most expensive cars on the planet without caring about the price tag, a private spending spree that would eventually lead to a major financial crash in 1997. Today, all those gold-trimmed Rolls-Royces, one-of-a-kind McLaren F1s, Bentleys the public has never seen, and Ferraris built entirely to personal specifications are stored in gigantic, climate-controlled hangars next to the Astana Nurul Iman Palace, under 24-hour security, a private automotive city the outside world only hears about through the occasional leak or rumor. Among all the treasures hidden in the Brunei garages, the McLaren F1s is the true crown jewel. The Sultan owns 11 of them. Out of just 106 ever built, nearly 10% of the entire production run. 5 are road-going versions in custom colors, from deep sapphire blue with a cream interior to a rare dark burgundy that almost looks black in certain light. Each one today is worth between $20 and $22 million, and the unique specs could push that even higher. Then there are the 3 McLaren F1s LM models. This is collector royalty. Only 5 were ever made, and 3 live in Brunei. Each is valued at around $50 to $55 million, with special paint jobs that make them even more desirable. A papaya, orange with yellow and red Brunei flag stripes, a matte black with gold accents, and a unique dark green with a pearlescent effect. The F1's GT is in a league of its own. Only 2 exist, and the Sultan owns one finished in black metallic with a custom cream and chocolate interior. Its market value is north of $35 million, but even if you had the cash, the odds of buying one are practically zero. Finally, there's the F1's GTR, a genuine race-bred machine with real motorsport history, restored to immaculate condition. Similar cars have sold at auction for $25 to $30 million, but the Brunei example, with its unique backstory, could fetch even more. This isn't just a set of McLaren F1s, it's a private fleet of the best, worth well over $500 million just for this one model line alone. In the Sultan's collection, Rolls-Royce isn't just transportation, it's the brand's entire history, rewritten to fit the taste of one man. Around 600 examples sit in his garages, and some are so unique that even Rolls-Royce's own archives list them as special commission for Brunei. Every car was built entirely by hand, down to the smallest detail. A Phantom, for example, features rosewood trim paired with mother-of-pearl inlays, and on the dashboard sits a Patek Philippe clock. With the base car included, this kind of configuration cost well over $1.5 million at the time. The Silver Cloud and Cloudesque in Brunei aren't museum pieces gathering dust. They're active limousines with upgraded suspension systems, custom air conditioning, and Bang & Olufsen audio setups. These are valued today anywhere between $700,000 and $1 million, depending on condition and the uniqueness of their interiors. The Royale and Majestic models, built in just 1 or 2 examples each, come in at $2 to $3 million apiece, thanks to one-off chassis work and coach building by Mulliner Park Ward. But the ultimate showpiece of this golden fleet is the Silver Spur 2, finished in 24-karat gold. That's not a figure of speech. Every exterior element, from the grille to the window surrounds, is plated in real gold. Inside, you'll find inlaid blackwood, amber panels, and carpets woven by hand from New Zealand wool. At the time it was built, this car cost more than $14 million, and today its value as a one-of-a-kind automotive art piece is even higher. These cars never appear at auctions and never leave the royal garages. This isn't just a lineup of Rolls-Royces, it's a personal automotive palace where each example is a moving crown in the hands of its owner. The Ferrari FX in the Sultan of Brunei's collection is pure automotive legend, even among die-hard Ferrari fans, surrounded by rumors and half-truths. Built in the mid-1990s exclusively for the royal family, these 6 cars were a test lab where Ferrari and Pininfarina pushed technology years ahead of what made it into production. They started with the chassis of the Ferrari F512M, equipped with a 4.9-litre flat-12 engine, and paired it with an all-new transmission developed in partnership with Williams Formula One engineers. These were the first Ferraris in history to feature paddle shifters, and the system shifted faster than any production gearbox of that era. The bodies were crafted from aluminum and composite materials, with an all-new design, aggressive lines, huge air intakes, and a distinctive capsule-like cockpit. The roof and rear pillars flowed seamlessly into the spoiler, and the engine bay was covered by a panel with small porthole windows above each cylinder. Interiors were fully customized for each owner, from leather color to inlays made of rare woods or anodized aluminum. None of the 6 were ever shown to the public. 5 remain locked away in Brunei's climate-controlled garages, while the only escaped car, a blue FX, with a Royal Family of Brunei badge, now sits in the Marconi Automotive Museum in California. It's the one car that gives the outside world a tiny peek at what's hidden behind the palace gates. Because of their uniqueness and the impossibility of recreating the project, each Ferrari FX today is valued at between 10 and 12 million US, while the museum car, with its documented royal history, could easily fetch 15 million at auction. But the chances of any of them being sold are basically zero for the Sultan. These aren't just machines, they're part of a private Ferrari history that exists nowhere else in the world. Bentley in the Sultan's collection isn't just British luxury, it's practically an entire alternate model lineup built exclusively for him. Around 380 cars in total, and each one is either a unique reimagining of a production model or a completely new project that never made it to any public auto show. The 6 Bentley Dominators were groundbreaking in the mid-1990s, back when the idea of a luxury SUV sounded like science fiction. Each one cost about 4.6 million US at the time, which is close to 9 million in today's money, and no 2 were the same. One might feature rosewood trim and white Connolly leather, while another could have deep green lacquer with a mix of Alcantara and matte aluminum. Then there are the Bentley Buccaneer, Camelot, and Spectre one-off or two-off builds, based on sketches from designers who were given complete creative freedom without engineering restrictions. The result? Stretched silhouettes, radically redesigned interiors, and exclusive paint colors that exist nowhere else. Each of these is worth at least 1.5 to 2 million US dollars, but on the open market they could easily sell for twice that because of their uniqueness. A special story surrounds the Bentley Java. 18 cars in total sedans, coupes, and convertibles were designed to be compact, sportier Bentleys for a new market segment, but the project never made it to production. Every single Java ended up in Brunei. Today, each one would be a potential auction star with an estimated price between 1 million and 1.5 million US dollars, simply because it's a non-existent model line for the rest of the world. For Bentley, these orders were like a secret laboratory where they could experiment with design, materials, and technology without any risk of public failure. For the Sultan, it was a way to build a car collection where not a single vehicle could be found anywhere else on the planet. In Brunei's garages, even the Bugatti EB110 looks like an everyday car, though for the rest of the world it's a sacred icon. The Sultan owns several, including the extreme EB110 SS models, lighter, more powerful, and even rarer than the standard version. Worldwide, only about 139 EB110s were ever made, and just a few dozen of those were in the super sport configuration. Several of them live right here in Brunei. Their 3.5-litre V12 engine, fitted with 4 turbochargers, puts out 611 horsepower and can rocket the car from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 3.2 seconds. Top speed? Over 217 miles per hour, which, even today, is firmly in hypercar territory. But in the Brunei collection, these Bugattis aren't standard, off-the-line builds. The bodies are painted in shades you won't find in any official catalogue, like a deep pearl blue or a dark green metallic, and the interiors are trimmed in leather and Alcantara matched perfectly to the owner's personal tastes. Some even have polished aluminum inserts and unique embossed headrests that exist nowhere else in the world. On today's market, a standard EB110 SS goes for between 3 million and 3.5 million US dollars. But examples with custom specs and documented royal provenance from the Sultan can easily cross the 5 million mark. While most surviving EB110 SS models are struggling to stay alive in the hands of collectors around the globe, in Brunei they're preserved in such perfect condition You'd think time had simply stopped for them. This part of the collection feels like an exhibition from an alternate history of the automobile, every car answering the question, what if money, time, and imagination had no limits? Out in the real world, they appear only in old press photos or blurry shots from behind closed garage doors. Here, they're lined up like a race team from a parallel universe, ready to roll. The McLaren phones didn't arrive in Brunei via auctions. Most were ordered straight from the factory in Woking back in the mid-1990s. For the ultra-rare black phone GT, the Sultan's representatives held direct talks with McLaren Special Operations, essentially buying out a build slot originally intended for a European collector. The three phone LMs arrived right after McLaren's legendary victory at Le Mans in 1995. Brunei ordered them immediately, even before the official public reveal, beating out almost every other potential buyer. The Ferrari FX entered the Sultan of Brunei's collection as the result of what can only be described as a near-secret operation involving Maranello, Pininfarina, and the Williams Formula One team. The story began in the mid-1990s when Prince Jeffrey Bolkiah, the Sultan's brother, wanted a car that looked like a Ferrari but drove like an phone race car. At that time, no production Ferrari had paddle shifters, and the tech for lightning-fast electro-hydraulic gear changes was still being tested in racing. Through his European contacts, the prince reached out to Pininfarina, who agreed to create a completely new body on the base of the Ferrari F5 12M. For the transmission, Williams Grand Prix engineering was brought in. They designed the electronics and hydraulics that, for the first time in Ferrari history, allowed gears to be shifted from the steering wheel. The project was carried out in total secrecy. In Maranello's own records, the name FX doesn't even appear. The cars were logged simply as special client orders and kept entirely out of the press. The first Ferrari FX prototype was delivered to Brunei in 1995, and it impressed the royal buyers so much that they immediately ordered 5 more each with its own unique body color and interior design. One FX came in a deep garnet metallic finish with beige leather and rosewood trim, while another had a silver exterior paired with white Alcantara and dark aluminum accents. None of the 6 FX cars ever appeared at auto shows or in official Ferrari brochures. Most remain hidden in Brunei's climate-controlled garages, and only one painted blue and wearing a Royal Family of Brunei badge somehow made its way to the United States. According to one version of the story, it was gifted to a high-level family associate who later sold it to a private collector. Eventually, that FX ended up at the Marconi Automotive Museum in California, where it remains the only publicly accessible example of the series. Back in the 1990s, each FX cost the Sultan over $1 million, an extraordinary figure for a non-production model at the time. Today, given their uniqueness, the involvement of Williams Formula One, and the fact that recreating them is impossible, experts value any Ferrari FX at between $10 and $12 million. The museum car, with its confirmed royal provenance, could easily reach $15 million at auction if it ever went under the hammer, which is highly unlikely. For the Sultan, Rolls-Royce is not just a lineup of luxury cars, it's part of a decades-long partnership that allowed the brand to execute projects unlike anything else in the world. The first deliveries started back in the 1980s, when classic models were shipped to Brunei for official use, but it quickly became a trend to order not standard versions, but deeply customized builds. Phantom 6 models left the factory in crew in standard spec, but Brunei orders always carried a special note, coachwork by Mulliner Park Ward. In London, these cars were partially or fully disassembled to fit Connolly leather of the highest grade, rosewood inlays, and embossed royal crests on the headrests and door panels. Some even received special air conditioning systems tuned for the hot, humid climate of Southeast Asia. Certain models were given completely new bodywork, extended doors to make it easier to get in and out while wearing ceremonial attire, modified suspensions for the smoothest possible ride on uneven roads, and upgraded braking systems for security during motorcade use. The 24-carat gold-plated Silver Spur 2 was the pinnacle of this collaboration. Creating it required master jewelers to prepare each gold piece separately before mounting it to the body, using a special bonding process to prevent tarnishing or wear. Inside, it wasn't just luxury materials it had, features no other Rolls-Royce in the world had, from advanced communication systems to hidden safes for documents. This partnership between Brunei and Rolls-Royce became so close that the company essentially maintained a dedicated production line and a team of engineers solely for Brunei orders. Every single car was recorded in Rolls-Royce's internal archives as a special order for Brunei. Ferraris in Brunei came mostly through private direct deals with Maranello. Two Ferrari 250 GTOs were purchased in the late 1980s through European dealers, and for one of them, the Sultan's team paid a record-breaking amount at the time, outbidding an American millionaire. Series like the 288 GTO, F40, and F50 arrived in waves, sometimes with several identical cars in a single shipment so that sets could be kept in different colors. The FX models, developed by Pininfarina, are another story entirely. Ferrari brought in Williams Formula One engineers to work on them, and the project doesn't even appear in Ferrari's official history. The Bentley Dominator was born after a personal meeting between the Sultan and Bentley's leadership in the early 1990s. Brunei wanted a vehicle that combined the prestige of a Rolls-Royce with the off-road capability of a Range Rover. The result was an order for 6 SUVs, costing over $25 million in total, built entirely by hand and fitted with interiors crafted from exotic materials including Burmese teakwood. The Java, Buccaneer, and Spectre models were Bentley experiments with new shapes and dimensions, each executed in multiple body styles, but all kept exclusively in Brunei. The Bugatti EB110 SS models arrived in 2 waves. The first car's standard EB110 GTs were ordered for the collection even before official sales began. When the Supersport version was released, the Sultan ordered several in custom colors, negotiating directly with the factory in Campo Galliano. In Brunei's Hall of Exotics, every car is the result of a targeted hunt that sometimes took years. The Jaguar XJ220 Pininfarina appeared after the Sultan's brother saw a few design sketches in a closed-off section of the Turin Auto Show drawings meant for internal viewing only. A private order was placed on the spot, and within months, a standard XJ220 was transformed into a unique art piece with completely redesigned body panels, new lighting, and an interior finished in light leather with turquoise accents. Today, this car is valued between $1.5 and $2 million. The BMW Nazca M12 is a car that was never supposed to leave Italdesign. It was created purely as a concept to show what Giorgetto Giugiaro's studio could do. After test drives at Monza, Brunei's agents purchased it along with the rights to the only completed example, ensuring it was shipped to Brunei in a sealed container guarded like diplomatic cargo. The rarity of this car alone puts its value at no less than $3 million. The Lamborghini LM002, known to enthusiasts as the Rambo Lambo, lost much of its military toughness when it arrived in Brunei. Even before delivery, it was sent to Carrozzeria for a full VIP transformation. Half of the interior was replaced with premium Connolly leather, a Sony television with a satellite receiver was installed, and the climate control system was completely upgraded to operate flawlessly in humidity levels over 80%. A custom LM002 in this spec today would fetch between $500,000 and $600,000. The Porsche 962 LM, with a confirmed racing history at the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans, was acquired from a German collector who had originally received it directly from the race team. Before being shipped to Brunei, it was fully overhauled in Vaisak, retaining its original racing livery, but bringing the mechanics up to competitive vintage condition. Similar examples today sell for more than $8 million at auction. The Koenigsegg Agera became one of the few modern acquisitions purchased at the request of younger members of the royal family. The deal included a completely bespoke specification in dark green metallic, with gold accents on the aerodynamic elements and throughout the interior, as well as special tuning for the tropical climate and long drives without overheating. It was flown in by chartered cargo jet from Sweden and immediately took its place alongside the classics, proving that even in a collection steeped in history, there's always room for new legends. In this configuration, its market value is around $2.5 to $3 million. The Sultan of Brunei's car collection is a living statement of his taste, resources, and philosophy on ownership. There's no room for coincidence here. Every vehicle is ordered, selected, or created to match a specific vision. Exclusivity isn't just a buzzword, it's the baseline from concept Ferraris like the FX, which brought Formula One technology to a road car years before production models did, to Rolls-Royces trimmed in gold and rare hardwoods never seen on a dealership floor. This collection is a cross-section of the entire history of the automobile, where retro luxury like the Phantom 6 or a 1000 930s Wraith stands beside hypercars, such as the Koenigsegg Agera or McLaren F1 LM. In one row, you might find a sports icon from the 1960s next to an experimental supercar from the 1990s, and just around the corner, a one-off SUV built decades before the segment became fashionable. And all of it is maintained at a level that feels like a military operation. Massive climate-controlled hangars, a security system more like the protection of a strategic facility, and in-house workshops staffed by specialists who know each car down to the last bolt. This isn't just storage, it's a cult of the automobile, executed on the scale of an entire nation. This story sounds like a true legend on wheels, about 7,000 cars, including 600 Rolls-Royces, 452 Ferraris, 11 McLaren F1s, and nearly 400 Bentleys. And that's just the foundation. The real treasure lies in the unique concept cars and custom builds, from Ferrari FX and F50 Bolide to Bentley Java, and models so exclusive that there's not a single official record of them in the brand's histories. Each one isn't just transportation, it's a moving piece of art, created for a single client. The scale of the collection is staggering even in numbers. Experts estimate its value at more than $5 billion, and that figure keeps growing every year because of the rarity and increasing worth of the cars inside. But the real intrigue is that this automotive world is almost entirely closed to the public. Everything is stored in isolated, climate-controlled complexes within the Astana Nurul Iman Palace grounds, places that even most members of the royal family can't access. This isn't just a collection, it's a private civilization of automotive luxury, hidden behind high gates and silent security. What's stored in the Sultan of Brunei's garages goes far beyond the usual idea of a private collection. It's not a set of status toys for car shows or a random lineup of rare models. It's a carefully curated, systematic, and deeply personal autobiography, told in the language of speed, engineering, excellence, and uncompromising luxury. Here, a car isn't just a way to get from point A to point B, it's a symbol of power, individuality, and influence, captured in metal and leather, often as the only example of its kind in the world. Behind these gates, time works differently. Technologies that were once decades ahead of their era still feel modern, while classics keep their factory shine as if they rolled off the production line yesterday. This is a place where the concept of ownership reaches its ultimate form, where no financial, logistical, or technical limits exist, and the only measure of value is the owner's desire. In that sense, the Sultan's car park isn't just a storage facility, it's a state within a state, with its own laws, rhythm, and legends that almost no one will ever get to see in person. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe.